Good afternoon. A little after 1 o'clock here in Minnesota, and I was going to show you this. I wasn't going to do another video for several days, but I decided that while I'm in this particular spot right here, I would show you a little bit about what goes on right prior to cutting the pieces for this thing. And I don't think you saw the last works, that 120 pieces I had in the last video. That whole 120 pieces are all confined to that area right there. And say, well, that doesn't look like 120. Well, we got to do it 5 times. So there we are over there. And that light's going to show that up different. The same, more or less glass, but it's showing up a little bit different with this light. This is fluorescent. And then over here, this is just a giant LED fixture, a light fixture. And so I wanted to be able to see all this glass at one time, so I mounted it all on this LED, and then it'll come from this LED onto the, let me walk over here, onto the, and I've got this thing turned upside down, but this is the form this lamp is going to be built on, and it's fiberglass, and then they put a coating of some kind of finish of some kind on there, and then etch the design itself or the cartoon itself onto that finish. I'll show you the actual fiberglass in a minute. And then I come back, or whoever buys one of these forms comes back, and then you take a gray grout, mix that grout up, and you rub it over the form, and then wipe it carefully off, and you're able to see all the lines. So I did talk about this in a previous video, but I don't expect everybody to, know every word I talk about, and these things are somewhat complicated. And this whole blank area up here is for that brass crown to set on the top of, and then the entire lamp is attached to the crown. And then where this will show up on there, I don't know. I didn't pay attention to where this goes. Anyway, these branches will be attached. And this is cast lead, so it's going to be able to conform or bend over. If I spent enough time here, I could figure out exactly where this branch set goes. Oh, right there. All right. See this curvature area there? There it is right there. And this branch set is going to be bent over because it's cast lead. And it's cast lead that's then been copper plated, so that's where it's getting this copper look. Gives it a little more strength. And so in fact, it's hard to do this in one hand. This area right here is going to need to be bent just a little bit to conform to that shape. So this will all be bent over the form, and then there'll be glass up inside of here, and you can see, if I get my hand out of the way, you can see the piece. Let me move this. There. Okay. You can see these pieces of glass that are going to be inside this area. And there are going to be 2 pieces of glass inside this area right here. And then 1, 2, 3. Let me get this phone where you can see it. Right there where my finger is, right above that. So this actual thing will be bent. And then up inside this piece, you can see it's grooved out for the glass to set up inside of there. So this is no 15-minute job right here to get the glass to set up inside of here, and then this conform down to the lamp itself. And this will set, in woodworking we call it proud, but this will set above the glass, the branch work itself. So I was interesting for you to see that. And one other thing, let me set this down because I don't want to get lost here. One other thing, what's this? Well, the male plug that's in the top of this form, the cast crown has a female aperture, and that allows the lamp you can remove the whole shade from the top of the base. And this piece here is the exact size of the male piece that sits or is a part of the top of the base itself. So when the crown will have the same aperture or female spot where it sets down on top of this, and that's why that's there, for the crown to completely set down in the top of this mold. And then when it's all done, I'll pull the lamp off the mold the lamp will have that female fitting, and that female fitting will then sit down on the top of the base of the lamp. And generally, when you buy or order, actually somebody has to make these bases are none of, well, I shouldn't say none. If you're going to make a real Tiffany reproduction and put a lot of time and effort into it, then you're going to buy the more expensive bases that are all cast, made by hand. So they cast the crown and the base, two different parts. So when you buy the hardware to build one of these lamps, you're buying the base, you're buying the crown, and then secondary to that, you buy the castings for this lead. And I do periodically get questions about the cost of this stuff. There are 20 pieces of cast lead, and here's the smallest of those 20 pieces. And the reason there are 20, of course, there are 4 pieces of lead for each section. 4 times 5 is 20. So, and here they are, all the rest of them are in this little bundle right here. And wholesale, those cost me $525, just this. And the lamp base and crown, real close to, I think, what's he, about $3,300 or $3,400 for the base and the crown. That's the wholesale price, or the price that I'm paying for them. And so you get into, there's nothing inexpensive about this lamp. Least of all is the I think it's somewhere between 400 and 500 hours, somewhere in there. So anyway, I did want to show you the cartoon on the side. These little dark spots, I explained this one time in a video before, where my grout didn't touch the, like a little pale area right here. I just took a little felt tip and went down in there and made it darker. Didn't necessarily need to do that. Now the next thing, you can see the fiber, how this thing is made fiberglass wise, and dog food. Anyway, here I have a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and of course there's going to be the center, and I built this odd shape right here was the laburnum lamp, which is right there, and that lamp has an odd configuration or odd shape on it, and then it's 6 sides to that lamp. That design on the laburnum lamp repeats itself 3 times. Well, anyway, I built this piece of wood to go up in that laburnum form. And the reason we do that is, now, let me back up. This round circle you see is the circle that's going to fit. I'm going to cut it, and it's going to fit down inside of this form, I'm going to take it down to about right here. All right, and then I'll attach an attachment to the center of that piece of wood, and I'll show you all this when I get it set up, but it's going to fit on a vise that I have, because I have to be able to hold this lamp up, and when I start soldering on the lamp, you have to solder in the horizontal, and because solder, once the solder becomes liquid, then it'll run, so I'm trying to work against gravity all the time. So you've got to be constantly moving this form when you solder it, and we'll of course be showing you that when I get to that. But anyway, let's look at that again. That's a big lamp if you really start to looking at it. And there's my sack of dog food for reference there, but good size lamp, and I'm in actually pretty good shape on it. Look at all this glass. I'm actually in a pretty good shape as far as cutting the glass goes. Now, what I wanted to show you today was I'm just now getting ready to go to the ring saw. I pulled the ring saw open again because there's a bunch of questions about ring saw. And I rebuilt this ring saw again. I've been using it so much, and you'll be able to see in a minute why you need a ring saw on this particular lamp. I did a trumpet creeper lamp many years ago and sold it, and it did not require nearly the amount of ring saw work that this thing does, and this lamp does, and I'll show you why again in just a minute. But the ring saw, there's some parts on this thing that wear. Now this is a Taurus number 3, and I have up on another shelf a Taurus 1, which was the first one they ever made. Then I have a Taurus 2, and each one of the Tauruses, this is the 3rd generation, have always been improvement on the previous generation. This ring saw here is a really good ring saw, But when you start using them for 3.5 or 4 hours, I said yesterday, or not yesterday, on the last video, you need to change this water. You need to change that water pretty often because the water fills up with the ground glass and creates an abrasive that works on all these wheels and stuff. These two wheels here hold that, and let me see if we can do this. I want that. Yeah. Okay, now you can see that ring. See that this is the ring. This is the part that cuts. And that ring goes around, and you can see that ring follow on around, and it's right in the inside of this belt. And so as you turn this thing on, that motor up here turns that belt, and there's these cogs on that belt, and it doesn't ever slip or anything. And then the ring sits inside of that belt and goes around and around and around, and there's a little wheel right here that throws water as this thing flies around. It's actually not throwing water, but it directs water up on to the ring itself and keeps this thing cool. And this is a brand new ring. I just put in this. I replaced these two wheels here, and then these two wheels here, they're little bearings inside of those wheels. So these two wheels here and these two wheels hold that ring steady so that it doesn't move around. Well, these wear out, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hours of work. And these little wheels wear out. Boy, these things are expensive too. I bought 15 wheels, and by the time I paid the shipping and everything, it cost me $50. And I don't know why I bought 15 when there's 2 used at a time. I just, brain went sideways for a minute. But anyway, that keeps that blade steady. When these two wheels here begin to wear, then the blade starts moving around, and then that makes cutting a little more difficult. So I put a brand new set of these in, and a new ring saw with an abrasive. And by the way, when we get down close there, you can see that's diamonds. There it is, industrial diamonds all over that little ring, and it really does a job. So anyway, let's put this back together, and I'll show you there. So this is what they call a stabilizer, and I probably need to take that stabilizer and adjust it down a little closer, and that keeps that blade even more stable. But anyway, that's everything you wanted to know about a ring saw. Probably didn't need to know. Probably not one person in 500 that is going to be watching this thing and need a ring saw. Anyway, where we're going with that, let's see, where am I? Right here. Okay, let me see if you can see this. All right, fortunately, I'm down to the bottom of the lamp here in this section, this next section that we're going to do. And look at this. Now, this is just crazy. Look at the size of this piece. There's my finger. And look at the size of these pieces of glass. I mean, this stuff is, oh man, hard to work with. And, you're not cutting this stuff out with a glass cutter because I can cut this one all day. But you get this so narrow, when you start trying to break that out with a glass cutter, you're going to lose this piece here. It's just easier at this point, and particularly that thing right there, that's crazy narrow. And I don't know, when I did this, this 386 and 385 lay together on the pattern right there. And that's right here, 386, 385. If you're going to take a shortcut, then you just make that one piece of glass. But, this is an actual Tiffany reproduction, and I'm not about shortcuts, so cut them out. And, man, that's getting really down to nitty-gritty. There's another one. Look at this thing. I've got it turned upside down. 388. These are hard to work with. They're hard to mark out and work with. I just did this 303. I just marked it out. So anyway, this is the only decent piece in this whole section. I think there are 18 or 19 pieces here, which adds up to like 90 pieces because I have to do each of these 5 times. Here's one right here. You're not going to do that with a glass cutter because you're going to come across here. I can make that curve, but to get that out of a piece of glass and retain that part right there, maybe you know, the rest of the whole, all the way around, the rest of it's, I can cut it with a glass cutter real easy. But coming in here and trying to get that little section right there out with the glass cutters, just not going to work well. You might get one out of 3 or 4 and waste a lot of glass doing it. So since all of this glass that I'm using in this piece, I think with a, shoot, I'm trying to think now some of the leaf glass. The only glass in this thing that's not real old glass is some of the leaf glass. And in fact, what I'm using for the background, where some of these flowers come down and touch a leaf, this background right here, looking at this, that's 1997 Ouroboros. So all of this stuff is coming out of some really old glass that just cannot be replaced. Look at that stuff. So now, even as big as this sheet is, and you can see where I've been whacking on it, even as big as this sheet is, we still have some stringers. See those dark things in there? So I think there's one more area. I believe that this 198 here is background. I've got to do some studying, and I don't think 289 is. 289 might be background. I believe that is. And would I figure that out? Right there. Okay, this is the original. This is a Tiffany original, and there's some background right there. We could jump down here and try to figure out where this one is, or that one. So you come down, straight down off this big leaf right there. So let me back up and see that. Shoot, I'll have to figure that. That's how I do this. I have to go back and forth and try to figure out which one is which. All right, now, I've got these all marked out, ready to go to the ring saw, and I wanted you to, that's mainly the reason that I came in here to show you this today. Let's move this, and I'll show you how you do some pretty cool stuff here. Okay, we're, like I said, let's just go right here. We're in this area right here working right now, all in here. And I'll be tomorrow afternoon before I get that done, most likely midday tomorrow, because I've got to do all the cutting, and then I've got to do all the grinding to get each one of these to fit. And there's that little 388 or 386. What was it? 386, 385, right there. 386, right there. So anyway, and where are they? Oh yeah, right here. Okay. Ooh, man, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this. Let's go to a lighter area and show you what we're doing. Okay, there you go. All right, this sheet is a very cool piece of glass, and what it is allowing me to do is if I decide I want a piece, let's look at 383. 383 is right there, and we want 383. I brought it to kind of variegate the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. I thought I had one short. I wanted some lighter and some darker. So there it is marked out up there. I'm not sure you can see it. Let's turn this down. Maybe it would help a little bit. Oh, maybe up. There you go now. All right. So this is going to be a darker piece, a little less dark, light, lighter. So that's how I'm moving around on this piece to get this lamp to have a different look from one floral area to another. Same thing right here, and I try to group these 5 at a time so I don't get lost with them. There's that one, darker, a little lighter, a little more lighter, and lighter. And there's 5 pieces, and I don't even know which one that is. I'd be 378, I believe that's 378. And what I have to do is I cut these out with a ring saw, and I lay all 5 of them in a pile. And they'll all be laid in different areas right here, like a pile here, a pile here, a pile here, a pile here, a pile over here. Then I come back after I got all these piles of 5, and I come back over here and I'll pick up, say, 377, just like this. And I'll come over here, and I'll look at this glass, and I'll think, which one of those conforms to 377? Yeah. And I have, in the past, laid these up here and brought 5 pieces of glass over here in my hand and tried to figure out which one was which. It's not that hard to do. You can pretty well, now that's another reason you need to really stay on the pattern here, and don't vary off this pattern, because bear in mind, these things have to fit. And so next to each other. And so in, for instance, 385, 386, if you don't get this curve right here on 385, right, then it's 386 is not going to fit well inside 385. Vice versa. If you don't get the curve here on 386 right, it won't fit right on 385. So it's just attention to detail. And the way you do a lamp like this, or any of these lamps, even one not this complicated, is you start off right at the beginning. And I started across the beginning with the top here. And you start with every single piece, and you just discipline yourself to making those pieces fit as close as you possibly can to the pattern. And you have to discipline yourself all the way through this thing. And you can't really have any concern for how long it's going to take you to do it, because it's just going to take you, I mean, you know, what control do you have over how long it takes to do it right? Well, you really don't. The only control you have over how long it takes to do it right is your own skills and abilities. That's it. So, of course, the more skilled you are at doing this kind of work, then the better the fit's going to be, and then the quality is going to come up from that skill set. So anyway, these have already been marked, and I told you earlier, I think on another video, this thing, I'm trying to figure out where this was. Yeah, here they are. Okay, that 300, I marked that with this felt tip first, and then I left that, I remember I left that diamond scribe over there. I'll go get that thing. I'm pretty sure I left it. Well, maybe I didn't. Oh, heck, I don't know. I'll find it. Anyway, I've got a diamond scribe here somewhere. There it is. Yeah. Okay. So where that pattern, and I'm showing you this for a reason, because there are people interested in my method, not to say mine is the best. Okay. So where I marked around it with that felt tip, then I came back and I take this diamond scribe, that diamond tip, and I mark inside that black line. And then that makes, look at this. That makes that piece sit right on top of that, not the piece, but the pattern sit right on top of that etching around there. Now, if you get that, if you take the time to get this right, then the next step is you just take the ring saw and you get as close as you can around here to that line all the way around. And then because that line is permanent, and oh, by the way, I scratched it. Maybe I should show you how you do that. Okay, watch this. We'll just make a little circle here. Can you see me? Okay. There. Okay, I've just put a little circle there, right? Okay, now, all I need to do now is, this old felt tip's all worn out. Let's see if you can see that. Look at that. There it is. So if we were to, now, my goodness, I wouldn't want a piece that small. But anyway, we would go around that thing and then take that little piece of glass right there over to the grinder and grind right back to that line. If you do that, then all these pieces are really, really going to fit. And the end result is going to be a lamp that's really, really, really finely made, and you got the craftsmanship way up there where it needs to be. And so far, the only anxiety I had over this thing was the color selection, and I had anxiety over that till I got probably down into here somewhere. And then this thing starts forming up, starting to look good, and I'm starting to feel like, wow, you know what? And this is, you know, crappy light, because this is a real intense LED. That's a fluorescent tube. And I said in the last video, after I listened to the video, that there were 3 lights in this base. There are actually 4 lights that in this base. And nowadays you can buy all kinds of different light bulbs, LED and everything else, that can do about anything you want it to do. So the client, whoever has a lamp like this, or this client in particular, he has experimented with lighting of the trumpet creeper. He owns the trumpet creeper lamp that I used to have here. And so he's experimented with lighting and got it to look the way he wants it to look. The same thing will happen here. There will be some, I won't say incandescent, there will be some light bulb that's going to work for this thing and make this glass look really, really beautiful. So that's where I'm at with that. And the next step, like I said, and oh, by the way, all of these are marked out on this sheet. And because the sheet is, I'm going the other end too, because the sheet's got these darker areas of purple, and now they don't look so purple, it depends on the light. But because we have all this purple, and I'm going to back out here. Look, I've got an area where I wanted these pieces here a little lighter, and then down on this end, oh yeah, way down here, I wanted these darker. Look at those. I hope this thing is showing up. There you go. So I wanted those more purple. And depend on the background light, how purple or blue these are going to be. So this is another interesting piece of glass. And now all of the glass, I said this in the last video, but all of the glass in this piece, except for the leaves, is all Uroboros glass, at least 24 years old. I think, yeah, some of it 25 years old. But anyway, so what that means is, and everybody that's in this business, no matter their level of expertise, some very high levels of expertise that are building these lamps, Uroboros is just some incredible glass to work with. Now, I certainly wouldn't say it's the best because there's Schlitz and Lens and other glasses that people use. There's numerous glasses that people are fortunate to use in this kind of work. But Uroboros is certainly no stepchild. It's some great glass. Unfortunately, the company no longer exists. But, man, look at this. Look at that background piece right there. Boy, is that nice. See if there's another area that looks... Look at here. This one here's got some stringers behind it. Those dark lines behind there. That's going to really, really look good. Well, that's it. I wanted to show you where I'm at, and I'm getting... oh, and here's some more up here. See, and this sheet, because it varies so much in color, has allowed me to move around and move from darker colors, lighter colors, mid-range, all back. And look at this tiny thing here. Now I got to cut that crazy thing out and get it ground. And when you get down to pieces that small on this grinder, man, my fingers are up here just barely getting a hold of the glass itself. And these are little things here that help you push the glass. I bought these at some glass show probably 40 years ago. Anyway, I put one right there, and these pieces are so tiny that every now and then the wheel will grab one and fling it, and this little bar right there catches it and keeps it from flying into the floor somewhere. So anywhere there's that. And then, of course, the little 1/4-inch bit on this thing. All right. Well, what is it? It's 1:45 here in the afternoon, and it'll take me probably 2 hours or so, maybe 3 hours, to grind these things out, or saw them out with the ring saw. But I've got clean water. The parts are rebuilt, so maybe not quite as long because I got a new ring in here. And I think probably going to have to rebuild the ring saw, oh gosh, maybe one more time. I'll probably get across here somewhere, right here, and then rebuild the saw again and then try to finish up. I did this area here first along the bottom because it had a large number of small pieces. And here's an area right here with some more small pieces. And then I get a little bit of a break here because the pieces get a little bit larger, but then they're back down small here. But so this will go a little quicker here and quicker here. I'm hoping that there's only 5, 6, 7 days left right here. I think I'm close to 400 pieces left. I think I counted. I got down this far and counted. And I did mention color. That these little red dots right here reminding me that these are the only two purple, magenta, this being magenta right there. These are the only two magenta pieces left to go in the lamp itself, and the rest of this is going to be, I bet you that's a background piece. I'll have to go back up to that the original drawing and figure out which one of these are the background pieces. And anyway, that's the last two magenta pieces remaining. And the rest of this is blue, soft blue. I've got another blue right here that's actually pretty interesting, but I don't think that, yeah, well, there you go. This area in here is somewhat compatible with some of this over here. In fact, right in there, we're getting pretty close. And this piece has an advantage over this piece. I don't know what I'd call it an advantage or not, but the difference is that there's a little bit of green in this. But I'm far enough out from the leaves right now. I'm not worried too much about the green. However, there is a little, there's a nice background piece right there. There is a little background where the flowers are kind of hanging in space there, and there's some foliage and stuff in the background, leaves in the background. So I may add a little bit of that blue in areas and close around something like this, where there's another piece of background where I'm trying to, you know, split the plant up, where the flowers are running down here and the flowers are running down here. So probably a little bit of that blue would not look too bad right in there that has a little bit of the green in it. So those are things you think about, and you certainly have plenty of time to think when you're working these out and cutting these things out of here. Well, that's about it for me today. I'm going to go saw these up, and that'll be a work day today. It took most of the day just to, you have to be so careful and take your time to make these things fit. Let's try one more here. Oh, look at that. There you go. That's what we're doing right there. And see, now if you make that etching underneath this pattern, fit that pattern, then when you get ready to put this thing together, and let's go find 381. Oh boy, where'd 380? Was that 381? 381. Good luck with that. Where'd that go? Somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right. Now I'm getting blind here. 381 right there. So you want that to fit. That needs to, then that thing, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That piece right there touches 5 other pieces of glass. So if you screw this up or have this wrong right here, then this one's not going to fit right. And on and on and on. So everything has to be just right, or it doesn't fit right. And it's not like a puzzle where the pieces have to fit like a jigsaw puzzle. But here, if you've got this piece here and it's not large enough, in other words, it's not big enough right here, across here, 382, I've got it too narrow right here, cut it down too much, then that's going to get filled with solder. And the idea here is these lines that are connecting this piece, those are all, each piece of glass wrapped with copper foil and soldered. So you're looking for this line to be relatively uniform. It's not going to be exactly the same on all of them, but you want it relatively uniform. And if you're miscutting voids and things, then you're just going to fill that with solder. That doesn't look good. And, you know, the average person's not going to pay that much attention to it, but it's all about the quality of every cut and the relationship between each piece next to each other. All right. Well, I feel like I'm running out of gas here. I'm going to have to get a little snack. I appreciate the interest in this thing. It's really, oh man, I talked to my sister about this kind of stuff, and I said, you know, I never thought about anybody paying any attention to any of this stuff. And until COVID's what actually started all this 2 years ago. And I thought, well, I'll just give people a distraction from all this bad news. Well, I started doing these little videos about, I don't know what I was building back then. I can't even remember. I could go look in my Facebook page of what the videos started out with. But I've shown lead work, flat glass, and all that kind of stuff. And but I didn't have any idea that there would be this kind of interest in this stuff. And I told her, I said, well, I toiled in obscurity here for 42 or 43 years before I ever videoed or anybody ever paid any attention to this stuff. So it's interesting to me, and I'm happy about this particular lamp because there are a few people on Facebook that do videos about their glasswork. Scott Riggs is one that does some really cool videos, and that guy's skill level's off the charts. And so I enjoy watching him work because I mean, there's no way you just walk off the street and do this stuff. This requires many, many, many years of dedication and interest and love of this craft to get this far. And I would say this again, I repeat it often, but you don't do this kind of stuff here, particularly a piece like this, for money. Although we certainly get paid to do this, but there's just no way, there's just not enough money to be paid to do this unless you really love to do it. Because boy, I'm telling you, you'll get a workout. This is just one little section of this lamp, but this will give you a workout right here, and this will separate those that think they want to do this from those that actually want to do it. And it's just a really love of the craft. And in my case, on this particular lamp, I wanted to build this lamp. In fact, there's Andrew Yao. I'm going to mispronounce his name. He's a fella that lives in, I think it's Thailand. So I'm going to say where his country is wrong. But anyway, he's a real sharp glass guy. And he was talking to me about these lamps. And he said, have you ever built another Wisteria? I said, yes, 1982. And these pictures are terrible because back in 82, we didn't pay that much attention to pictures and stuff. But there's, now, and the lighting, I think after I got done with this thing whipped me so bad that after I got done with this, I just took a picture of it and got it away from me. I was way tired of this lamp. And there's another Wisteria right here, built a different way than what we're building this. This is an old way from a system called the Worden system. Actually, much more difficult than what this is. And I remember cutting this thing out in 1982. And, and then I didn't have these real fancy, expensive bases like we have now. Although that's a nice looking tree trunk base, it's not the real thing that what we're working with now. Now and of course, you're not showing any light on this lamp. I'm fortunate to have these pictures right here. And that's 1982. So I went a lot of years without building one of these, and I've wanted to build one. I'm old now, I'm 74. And when you start messing around with stuff like this, you pretty much realize, there's not many of these left in me, if any. And so, other than this one. And so I wanted to do this, and I kept looking for the right client, and I got the right client. I've done work for him before. I like him, he likes me, and he understands me, I understand him, he trusts me, I trust him. And so away we go here. And I'm very fortunate to be able to have the skills to build this thing, but to have the client to back it up. And man, boy, I tell you what, I'm starting to see this lamp is going to be really, really, really beautiful. I'm so thankful that I went with this color combination. And I thought about this color combination for weeks until I've actually got into it. All right. Anyway, if you have questions, be sure and ask me. And that's what, spurs these discussions on Facebook and in particular the videos. And I'm going to fire up the ring saw here in about 5 minutes and start whacking on this thing and get these out, and then go after it tomorrow, beginning in the morning, on trying to grind these things back and get them onto that form. Then the next step will come over here. I think I'll just stay right here, and I'll come right in here and probably cut over to about right in here with the next batch and keep going. And I really want to finish cutting this thing by the end of the month. I think I can get that done. And then get off of that and then go on to the foiling. Then it'll get more interesting because we're going to take that form and I'll show you how you do that and how I hold them onto the form, how they stay on the form, and what all is all involved with that. I'll show you how I mount that wooden deal in the bottom of the form. That's all got to be done yet. So this is a heck of a lamp for one person, I'm telling you. But I like it. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks. And if you have any questions, either ask me on Messenger or ask me on Facebook. If you ask me on Facebook, everybody gets to be involved in it rather than me get on Messenger with you and start answering all kinds of questions there. So it's actually better on my Facebook page, because then the question that you're asking may be a question similar that somebody else may have. Oh, geez. I wish you could see this thing in person, because this color combination, man, I usually don't get all excited about anything till toward the end of it, but this thing is really starting to look sharp. Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you.